Most men believe satisfying a woman is about size or lasting all night. But here's the truth. Women rarely remember size, they remember how you touch them. And the smallest moves you've probably ignored are the ones that make the biggest difference. Today, I'll show you 5 science-backed techniques every man over 40 needs to know. Hi, I'm Dr. Gunter, a urologist with over 22 years helping couples rediscover intimacy after 50. I've seen hundreds of men frustrated in the bedroom, and hundreds of women who thought pleasure was gone forever. But it doesn't have to be, because intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about hormones, nerves, blood flow, and trust. When you learn to touch the right way, you're not only giving her more pleasure, you're strengthening your connection, boosting her confidence, and reigniting a part of your relationship you thought was lost. Intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about hormones, blood flow, nerves, and emotional safety. When you touch the right way, you're not just giving her pleasure, you're boosting her pelvic health, her confidence, and even your relationship's longevity. So let's break it down. I'm going to share 5 simple moves that any man can learn, and trust me, they're not complicated. These are things you can try tonight without pills, without gimmicks, and without pressure. Just real human connection backed by science. The first move is what I call the slow warm-up touch. And here's where so many men get it wrong. They rush straight to the most obvious spots, thinking that's what she wants. But the truth is, women's bodies don't work like light switches. They're more like dimmers. It takes gradual, thoughtful attention to bring everything alive. So what does this mean in practice? Start outside, not inside. Forget about diving right into the genital. Instead, let your hands explore the areas that often go overlooked. Her thighs, her hips, the curve of her waist, the softness of her stomach. These places are loaded with nerve endings, but most men never think to linger there. A soft stroke, a gentle squeeze, even just resting your hand with warmth. All of these send powerful signals to her brain. They say, I'm here, I'm paying attention, you matter. The science behind it is simple but fascinating. When you touch the skin in these areas, you're activating sensory nerves that connect directly to the brain's pleasure and safety centers. This isn't just about turning her on, it's about telling her nervous system to relax, to feel safe, to open up. Blood vessels dilate, circulation improves, and hormones like oxytocin begin to flow. That combination of physical response and emotional reassurance sets the stage for everything else to follow. And here's the thing most men overlook. When a woman feels safe and desired in these subtle areas, her body naturally prepares for deeper pleasure. Lubrication increases, muscles relax, and her brain shifts into a state where arousal becomes not just possible but inevitable. It's like priming the canvas before painting. Without it, the picture never truly comes to life. I'll never forget one of my patients, a 62-year-old woman who came to see me because she thought intimacy was over for her. She said, "My husband doesn't even try anymore. When he touches me, it feels like he's just going through the motions." After a few conversations, I encouraged her to share with him the idea of starting slower, of focusing on touch outside the obvious zones. A few weeks later, she came back with tears in her eyes. She told me, "For the first time in years, I felt truly seen. He didn't rush, he didn't pressure me, he just touched me like I mattered." That moment changed everything for them, not because of a new medication or some trick, but because of a simple shift in how he used his hands. This is the power of the slow warm-up touch. It's not about technique in the mechanical sense, it's about intention. It's about saying through your hands what words sometimes fail to capture: I value you, I want you, I see you. And when a woman feels that, not only does her body respond, but her heart and mind do too. So if you take nothing else from this first step, remember this: slow down. Touch the places you usually ignore. Give her body time to wake up. You'll be amazed at how much difference it makes, not just in her pleasure, but in the connection you share. The second move is something simple, but almost every man does it wrong. I call it circular stimulation. Now let me be clear, the female body, especially the clitoral network, has more than 8,000 nerve endings in one tiny area. That's twice as many as the head of the penis. Twice, which means one wrong move, too much pressure, too fast, too rough, can actually overwhelm her and shut everything down. Here's the mistake I see all the time: men think of stimulation like pressing a button. They go straight in with a firm poke or quick rubbing, believing more force equals more pleasure. But women's bodies aren't built for that kind of blunt approach. What actually works is gentleness combined with rhythm. Small, patient, circular motions. Think of it like drawing soft circles with your fingertips, not jabbing, not rushing, just guiding her body into deeper awareness. Why circles? Science gives us the answer. The nerve endings in the clitoris and surrounding tissue are arranged in a way that respond best to gradual, repetitive touch. Circular motion keeps stimulation consistent without overwhelming a single nerve pathway. It's like a massage for her most sensitive areas, building intensity slowly, layer by layer, until her body is ready for more. One patient of mine, let's call her Linda, 58, told me her husband always tried to be enthusiastic in the bedroom, but she felt more uncomfortable than aroused. She described it like this: "It's like he's ringing the doorbell over and over, hoping I'll open the door. But all it does is make me tense." When he learned the idea of circular, gentle motions, starting around the clitoris, not directly on it, slowly tightening the circles, everything shifted. A few weeks later, Linda looked at me and said, "I didn't realize how much pleasure I was missing. For the first time, I could relax and actually enjoy it." Here's what men often don't realize: women need variety, but not chaos. Circular stimulation gives her nervous system predictability while still allowing arousal to build. When her body knows what's coming, it can relax and sink into the sensation instead of bracing against it. And once she's relaxed, the pleasure multiplies. Another key tip: let her guide you. Pay attention to her breathing, the way her hips move, the little sounds she makes. Those are her body's cues. If she leans in, keep the rhythm. If she pulls back, soften or slow down. The beauty of circular touch is that it's adaptable. You can go wider, tighter, faster, slower, but always in a way that feels smooth, connected, intentional. So here's your takeaway: stop poking, stop rushing. Use circles. Let your touch be patient, gentle, and responsive. This isn't about doing a trick, it's about showing her that you're tuned into her body. And when she feels that, her pleasure isn't just physical, it's emotional. She'll know you're not just there for release, you're there for connection. And that changes everything. The third move is something I call very speed and pressure. If the first two moves are about awakening and engaging her body, this one is about keeping her there, building the intensity without overwhelming or boring her. Here's the trap most men fall into. Once they find something that works, they stick to it like glue. Same motion, same rhythm, same pressure over and over. At first it feels good for her, but then her body adapts and the sensation fades. Think about it: even your favorite song gets less exciting if it plays on repeat without change. Women's bodies respond the same way. They crave variety, but in a way that still feels connected and intentional. So how do you do it? Simple: alternate between light and firm pressure, slow and faster strokes, wide and narrow focus. For example, you might start with a soft, gentle touch, then gradually increase the pressure as she leans into it. Or you could begin with slow circles, then build into quicker, lighter strokes before easing back down again. Think of it like waves at the beach, rolling in and out, never flat, never static. The science here is fascinating. The nervous system adapts quickly to repeated stimuli. If you touch the same spot with the same intensity for too long, the nerve endings essentially tune it out. By changing speed and pressure, you prevent that adaptation, keeping the nerve signals fresh and exciting. On top of that, the contrast between gentle and firm touch heightens sensitivity. The softer moments feel softer, the firmer ones more intense. It's the interplay that creates magic. I remember one of my patients, Mike, 65, who came to me frustrated. He said, "I try so hard, but she tells me it feels the same every time. It's like she gets bored." When I explained this idea of varying touch, he was skeptical. But he tried it, slowing down when she seemed on edge, pressing firmer when she leaned in, lightening up when she pulled back. A month later, his wife came with him to thank me personally. She said, for the first time, it didn't feel mechanical. It felt like he was really listening to my body. That kind of feedback doesn't just change sex, it changes the entire relationship dynamic. Another important point: don't be afraid of pauses. Sometimes the most powerful move is to stop for a moment, let her body crave your touch, then return with a different speed or pressure. That anticipation amplifies sensation more than constant stimulation ever could. So here's your takeaway: women don't want you to be a machine, they want you to be a musician, playing with rhythm, with dynamics, with emotion. Vary the speed, adjust the pressure, pay attention to how her body responds, and let that guide you. When you master this, you're not just giving her pleasure, you're showing her she's worth your focus, your patience, your artistry. And that's something she'll never forget. The fourth move is all about syncing with her breathing and using teasing pauses to build anticipation. This is where connection meets control, and it's something many men overlook. Too often, guys think the key to her pleasure is speed or technique. but real intimacy. It's about rhythm, timing, and paying attention to her body signals. Here's the idea: watch how she breathes. Is her chest rising slowly or quickly? Are her exhalations soft, tense, or sighing with enjoyment? Your goal is to match your touch with her natural rhythm. When you do, it's like your bodies are dancing in perfect harmony. Every stroke, every caress flows with her energy. That synchrony doesn't just feel good physically, it releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, making her feel safe, cherished, and deeply connected to you. Now, pair that with teasing pauses. This is the part most men fear: stopping when she's close or slowing down when she's aroused. But science shows that anticipation actually heightens pleasure. Pausing briefly signals her nervous system that something exciting is coming, which increases sensitivity and arousal when you resume. Think of it as tension and release. The small moments of restraint make the eventual sensation far more intense than constant stimulation ever could. I had a patient, let's call him Tom, 59, who struggled with intimacy after menopause affected his wife's libido. He was frustrated and anxious, thinking he needed to do more to get her excited. I suggested he try syncing with her breathing, following her lead, and introducing deliberate pauses. At first, he felt awkward; stopping seemed counterintuitive. But after a few attempts, his wife noticed the change immediately. She told me, "It's like he finally understands me. He's listening without words." For the first time in years, they experienced closeness that went beyond physical pleasure. Emotional and mental intimacy returned too. Another tip: let her cues guide how long and when to pause. Sometimes a brief pause is enough. Sometimes she wants a slow, teasing build-up. Pay attention to her reactions. A gentle arch, a soft sigh, or even subtle movements of her hands can guide you. The key is responsiveness, not rigidity. So why does this work? When you combine rhythmic touch with pauses, you're not just stimulating her body. You're engaging her mind, creating anticipation, and showing her that you're fully present. Women respond to touch that is deliberate, attentive, and emotionally connected. The pause is not a break, it's a signal that her pleasure matters to you, that you're invested in her experience, not just your own. Remember, this is a skill, not a trick. It takes awareness, patience, and a willingness to slow down. But the payoff is immense. Deeper arousal, more powerful orgasms, and a sense of intimacy that lasts long after the moment ends. Master this fourth move, and you're not just touching her body, you're touching her heart. The fifth and final move is what I call pause before the peak. This is where timing, restraint, and awareness come together to create an unforgettable experience. Many men think that the goal is to push straight to climax, for themselves and for her, but that's exactly where most intimacy falls flat. Women's bodies and minds respond to tension and release, anticipation and rhythm, not just continuous stimulation. Here's the idea: when she's approaching the height of pleasure, slow down, soften your touch, or even pause completely. It may feel counterintuitive. The natural instinct is to keep going, to rush to the finish. But by introducing a deliberate pause, you're giving her nervous system a moment to process, heightening sensitivity and building excitement. It's like stretching a rubber band. The tension makes the eventual release much more intense. The science behind this is fascinating. Pausing engages the brain's reward system. Dopamine levels spike in anticipation, blood flow increases, and the body prepares for a stronger response. Think of it as priming the system. When you resume with intention, every nerve ending is ready, every sensation amplified. I remember a couple I worked with, Mark and Susan, both in their early 60s. Mark was frustrated that intimacy had lost its spark, and Susan felt disconnected from her body after menopause. I suggested he try introducing pauses right when she seemed close, varying the speed and pressure around that moment, and letting anticipation build naturally. The results were remarkable. Susan told me, "For the first time in years, I felt like he was in tune with my body, not just physically, but emotionally." Mark said he felt more connected, more confident, and more in control without ever feeling rushed. Another important tip: communication is key. You don't have to break the moment with words, but pay attention to nonverbal cues, breathing, subtle movements, or sounds she makes. These are your guides for when to pause and when to resume. The pause isn't a break, it's an invitation for her body and mind to sync with yours. So what's the takeaway? Don't fear slowing down. Don't fear teasing her before the peak. Women respond to touch that is deliberate, attentive, and emotionally connected. By mastering this move, you're creating layers of anticipation and pleasure that make every touch more meaningful, every sensation more intense, and every moment more intimate. In the end, this fifth move isn't just a technique, it's a lesson in patience, awareness, and care. It tells her, I'm here for you, I see you, I'm invested in your pleasure, and that emotional connection. It's the secret ingredient that transforms simple intimacy into something unforgettable. Barbara, 67, had long assumed that intimacy was behind her. After menopause, she felt disconnected from her body and resigned to a quieter, less passionate life. She thought those sparks of closeness she once shared with her husband were gone forever. Then her husband learned a few simple but powerful slow-touch techniques, the same ones we've been talking about. Instead of rushing, he started paying attention, exploring the subtle areas, syncing with her breathing, varying his touch, and even introducing gentle pauses at just the right moments. Within just a few weeks, Barbara noticed something remarkable. She turned to her husband one evening and said, "It feels like we're teenagers again, only better." Not only was her body responding in ways she hadn't experienced in years, but her mind and heart were reconnecting as well. She felt seen, desired, and cherished in ways that went beyond the physical act. This story shows why these techniques matter. It's not about age, size, or performance, it's about presence, attention, and care. When a partner truly listens to your body, notices the little signals, and responds with intention, intimacy doesn't fade with age. It evolves, deepens, and becomes richer than ever before. Barbara's experience is a powerful reminder. Small, thoughtful actions can reignite connection, restore confidence, and transform relationships. It's proof that intimacy isn't something you lose, it's something you can nurture regardless of your age. So remember, intimacy isn't about being a porn star. It's not about size, stamina, or trying to impress. It's about 5 simple, intentional moves: warm-up touch, circular stimulation, varying speed and pressure, syncing with her breathing, and pausing before the peak. These aren't tricks or gimmicks. They're signals to her body and mind that say, I care, I'm present, I still want you. Barbara, 67, is living proof. After years of thinking intimacy was over, these slow-touch techniques reignited connection, passion, and closeness with her husband. And she's not alone. Hundreds of couples I've worked with have found the same. It's never too late to rediscover pleasure, confidence, and emotional closeness. If this helped you, share it with a partner or friend. You might save a relationship. And subscribe for weekly Urologist insights on men's health, intimacy, and practical ways to strengthen connection at any age. Because intimacy isn't just a physical act, it's about care, presence, and love that lasts a lifetime.